Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is called Parshat Yitro, and it's primarily about the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai. We have a very interesting thing that the word Ashan, smoke, is mentioned twice in the parsha, once just before the giving of the Torah and once just after. What's the importance of this word smoke? The Kabbalists explain that something very interesting happened at Mount Sinai. For the first time in the history of the world, the verse says, V'yarad Hashem al Har Sinai, and God came down on Mount Sinai. God, actually, divinity and physicality met at one point on the Mount of Sinai. What was the environment that made it? What surrounded them? So the Torah says twice, Ashan. They were surrounded by smoke. And the Kabbalists explained the first place it's mentioned is in Sefer Yetzirah, but it's developed by other people as well. That what's the idea of smoke is three words. It's an acronym for three words. Ayin, Shin, Nun. Ayin stands for Olam, world. Shin stands for Shana, year or time. Space and time, and the word nun is for nefesh, which means soul, space, time, and person. What do we learn from these three words? This is primarily from the teachings of Rabbi Moshe Cordovero. He says like this: a person always thinks they're going someplace because they have a reason to go. They really have to realize that God has a mission for them there. I have to think about what is God's mission. Wherever I'm going, what does God want me to do? If I lose track, if I'm too over-focused on my mission and don't think about what's God's mission, I won't fulfill what I have to do there. What's the idea of time? Now, whereas place, we just spoke about the power. Each place has a certain power. With time is constantly changing. Torah says time is a spiral, ever moving upward. We're repeating the same events over and over and over again. So what changes in time? Changes me. What did God teach me in the last year, the last month, the last week, the last day, the last hour, the last minute, that I can deal with this same situation I've been through so many times? I can deal with it in a different way. That's the idea of time. There's the function of the person. And the idea of soul, that a person thinks, we are so used to thinking ourselves as being part of this physical world, but really a person has 5 levels of the soul. The highest level of the soul is called Yechida. It's connected to God all the time. It's in Devekut, attachment to God all the time. And when I want to, I can draw down from the holiness. I can bring in the infinite into the finite. Those are the three ideas. Olam, that the power of the place. Shana, how can I deal with this same event again in a different way? That's time. And soul, how can I think out of the box to bring down the infinite into this world? The previous Lubavitcher Rebbe said it in a very different way, and we want to add that also. What is time and space and soul with Torah study? The purpose of Jewish person is to study Torah, to spread Torah. Olam means every place is appropriate for sharing Torah. And time means every time is appropriate for sharing Torah. And soul is every person is appropriate for sharing Torah. Shabbat Shalom.